Hey everybody, it's Kylie, and this is my reflection post for Module 9 Assistive Technology. The role of assistive technologies in the classroom for students is very helpful and supportive. It promotes self-esteem in students who are struggling or have to learn differently from their peers. AT increases productivity in providing the tools necessary for students to learn and communicate to the best of their abilities. Performance is enhanced as well because students are able to complete tasks asked of them through the use of AT. Students develop more independence because of their use of AT by being able to communicate for themselves and complete tasks on their own with little to no adult assistance. AT provides useful adaptation in the categories of low, mid, and high-tech tools. Low-tech tools such as pencil grip, adaptive books, color coding, sign language, and peer support are utilized in the classroom. There are also mid-tech tools such as text-to-speech, ebooks, adaptive computer tools, and word processing. And then there's high-tech tools such as voice recognition, PDAs, computers, and speech output devices that are used throughout the classroom setting as well. So I've had a personal experience with AT devices. My mother was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, rather known as ALS, back in 2014. She had a very aggressive, rare form of the disease, so rather than first losing her ability to walk or move her limbs first, she lost her ability to speak first. So the doctors gave her a Dynavox communication system to communicate. And it was a really powerful and useful tool. My mom was able to use pictures to ask for things, as well as type out sentences to show us, or she could press the speech tool for it to be said out loud by a voice on the computer. But my mom really loved talking and conversating, so she became very disheartened and frustrated very quickly when she couldn't keep up with conversations. It was very hard to pace conversations at family get-togethers or in restaurants because it would be really loud and noisy. So many times she would just not engage in conversations because she would say later, after the fact, that by the time she wrote out what she wanted to say, the conversation of the group had moved past, and we would try to wait for her to type, and it was really hard for everyone, including me, to watch her struggle with all the changes that she had to go through. ALS is a terrible disease, so that was my personal encounter with the technology, and the Dynavox is really, really useful. So out of the assistive technologies we looked at this week, I found one of the most helpful or applicable for my teaching area in art would be the TheraSimplicity program. It had a lot of illustrations readily available for students to make their own communication boards. As a teacher, I'd be able to upload my own images and add them to the TheraSimplicity for students to access them for my class. This would be really useful when demonstrating and teaching about art. TheraSimplicity also had the options for creating games and worksheets using the images on the site. Also, I thought that the Atomic Learning site would be very useful to have as a tool in your back pocket to be able to access the classroom setting if you needed to help or assist a student when they were using a specific type of AT. And for the applications of assistive technologies from the Brunisma article, I don't know if I'm saying that right, I chose to describe existence, communication, and positioning. So it was stated in the applications that assist with existence are functions that are necessary to sustain life. One of the ways I found it's considered low tech but very useful in the home, useful and helpful. For wheelchair-bound individuals, they can have pull-down shelves installed where the entire shelf is able to be easily brought down and sewed back into place. And another tech application for AT occurs with communication. These technologies can improve participation because it allows a student to communicate with their peers. As an example, I found was text-to-speech AT. It's designed for students who have difficulties reading standard print. Print disabilities can include blindness, dyslexia, or any type of visual impairment or learning disability. It works by scanning and then reading the words to the student in a synthesized voice using a large number of speech sounds that make up words in any given context. It's very accurate and lifelike. And then the last of the AT applications I chose to define and having an example for his positioning. This is utilized for individuals who need assistance to maintain a stable position or support portions of their body. An example I found for positioning is the use of head supports. The type utilized depends on the condition and its severity and how it affects the individual's life. They are most useful for drop head syndrome, where the head falls forward, but they're also used for people who suffer from diseases like ALS, Parkinson's, and muscular dystrophy. And then the additional assistive technology I found that was not listed in the module are sip and puff systems. According to Avernia University's article titled Assistive Technology Tools That Are Making a Difference, sip and puff systems are used by students who have mobility challenges such as paralysis and fine motor skill disabilities. They are a type of switch device which refers to the technology used to replace a computer, a keyboard or mouse. These systems allow for control of a computer, a mobile device, or another technological application by the individual moving the device with his or her mouth. Similar to a joystick, the person can move the controller in any direction and click on various navigational tools using either a sip or a puff. An on-screen keyboard allows the individual to type using the same movements. And when I was reading about this, I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Rear Window that was redone, but it had Christopher Reeves, and he was bound to a wheelchair, and he used the sip and puff device so that he could, what am I trying to say here, use his wheelchair to move around. So if he wanted to move, he would just puff into it, and he could do the movements. So that's what that made me think about. But anyways, that's it for this week's reflection post, and I hope everybody has a great week.